today's video is going to be on karma. Alright, so I'm going to explain karma pretty much in a very simple way, not so much as using the actual book definition, just how I understand it, because again, it's my perspective, so I just want people to understand it in the most simplistic way. So karma can be defined as an action to a reaction. So think of it like this. Whenever you invest your energy into something or you do a certain thing, such as if you do a good deed for someone, the reason that they say that it's better, basically that receiving comes in giving, is because you're basically in a sense giving to yourself. All right. So you're taking your energy, which is you're a part of creation. You're a co-creator. So you're doing something good for someone, and then that brings something back to you, because essentially you're all one. And what do I mean by all one? Think of it like the Big Bang Theory, or what I like to call the Cosmic Orgasm. You are basically connected at the level of an atom. Okay, so when you hear the stories about Adam and Eve, it's somewhat metaphorical, meaning that life began with the splitting of an atom. So when that split, male and female, came into being, and then it split again and splits again, and so on. All right. So what does that have to do with karma? The reason that they say karma is a bitch, which it's really not, it's the ultimate teacher, because it's showing you an example of what you did to someone else. Now sometimes you will have people, what I like to call agents of karma, that come back to show you that karma. Like they'll come in to repay the karmic debt to you, either from a past life or for something that you did in this life. An example, if you beat up someone, someone else will come in to teach you a lesson and show you how it feels on all levels: the emotional level, the mental level, the physical level. What it's like to say that you beat up someone and there was a big crowd and they mocked that person and they laughed at them and they cheered you on. You're going to see that from opposite ends. And I say that because I'm one of those people. I beat up a few people and I got beat up a few times. So another thing also I want to say about karma, I was kind of inspired to do this video on karma because I was explaining to someone earlier, again, trying to get them to understand it. And when you evolve and when you change, people that you grew up with, that you hold in high regard, they're not always going to be happy for you. And it seems like for me, in my circle and my old circle, that's the way it was. They wasn't happy for me. When something good happened, they weren't happy for me. They wanted me to stay the same because I was evolving at a rapid rate, and they didn't necessarily like that. So my message to you and anybody that's watching, that's called being salty. So if you want to be salty, you need to go apply for a job at Morton's Salt Factory, or work in a fast food restaurant where you're putting salt on the potatoes and on the french fries, because at least you would be doing something beneficial with your energy. Because when you rack up karma with negative intentions like that, again, it's like I said, you're doing it essentially to yourself, because you are a part of that original thought, a part of that original atom. So when you're sitting there and you're bad-mouthing people because your life is not going a certain way, or life didn't happen the way you thought it should, this video will help you if you pay attention. A lot of people that would watch this video, especially if it's somebody that I used to know or that I was affiliated with, they would say it's like I'm trying to down them. I'm not trying to down you. I'm trying to explain to you why certain things happen. And until you take responsibility for your creations and what you're putting out there, out into the hive mind, the universe, however you want to say it, it's never getting easier for you. If you find your life in turmoil and nothing ever gets any better, and you're unhappy with your life, you are responsible for changing that. You know what I mean? Excuse me. So you are responsible for changing that. You are the creator. You're a co-creator. You co-create with God. So you come here, and God is a part of you. People, a lot of Christians, they believe that you're separate from God and you're going to meet God. God works through you. God is the Holy Spirit. It is all around you. This is why witches and people like that, they worship nature, because they worship God and everything in it, nature and the darkness and the light. they worship it all. You know, me personally, I don't really worship anything. I'm just, trying to create and do it as easy as possible. I'm trying to take the path that, my whole intention is to take the path of least resistance. So when you're out here and you're, tearing people down, you are basically in the energy of rebellion or destruction. And when you look at everything that happens on Earth, you can sit there and you could look at an example, a hurricane. You can say, oh, a hurricane, it destroys. But, similar to like basically a fire, like, a wildfire that burns everything down. Out of the ashes arises a phoenix, and I'm an example of a phoenix, and so is many other people. It's because people will sit there and try to tear you down and break you down, only for you to rise up and, hit them with that, that phoenix light, that phoenix blood. You change, and people don't like that. They think that you ought to, stay the same, or, you're going to leave them behind. But what they don't realize is that depending on who you are, if you're not, I think sometimes people confuse me as the person that, comes off as arrogant and things like that. And yeah, I am a little arrogant sometimes, but only so much when it comes to my thinking as far as like trying to, prove an example or do this video. I'm not arrogant in life. I don't think I'm better than anyone, because I know that there is, when it comes to universal law of cause and effect and karma, I know by acting that way, I will have to deal with people like that. And I don't like people like that. So for me personally, my intention is to come from my heart space, try to love people and help them out and be in need. And for the most people that know me, know that I've always been someone that's loyal and that can be counted on. But I think sometimes, and this is probably from past life, I was probably the opposite. So I come in this life with the intention to be loyal, and a lot of other people I'm sure can resonate with this, to be loyal to other people, only for the other people in my circles to be unloyal or disloyal. However you want to look at it. And so it's not so much about me as far as, what's happened, because, I know I'm not a victim. I know that I played a part in all this, and I know I signed up, signed up for this before I incarnated into this human form. That's what awakening, being awakened is about. You realize that you're a soul. You'll see so many people say, oh, you can sell your soul, you sell your soul for materials. You can't sell what you are. I had a conversation with someone about that the other day. How are you going to sell your very essence, the exact thing that animates you, because once the soul's gone, the body's dead. The body is just a vehicle. This face, it's just a reflection, or it's just an example of the vehicle. That's all it is. But if you're someone that's out here, and you're jealous of other people, I understand. I've been jealous. And you're hating on other people, or you're judging them, or you don't think they should do this or say this or whatever. Some people might have a problem with the comment I made in the beginning about the salt. But I'm giving you an example. It's an example to get you to understand what you're doing and what you're, to be mindful of what you're putting out into the universe. You've got to understand that. Man, I always want to know this, stop vision. And again, like an example of cause and effect, which would, show karma, would be, if I go in here and I kick this wall, I'm in an apartment, so I rent. So if I kick this wall, then I'm going to be responsible for that part of creation, or what I manifested, which is basically destruction. So I'm taking my good energy and I'm tearing something up, which is destruction, which is rebellious energy. It's, stuff that, that's only going to have backlash towards me. So think about that. When you're doing this, and you're in a group of people, and you're gossiping, and you're trying to make somebody look, put them down and make them look a certain way, and say you're a social media influencer, if you're just a powerful influencer yourself, and you're using your energy to basically, bring somebody down, it's only going to happen to you. And I invite you to try that out. Just, look at your past. If you are guilty, and you don't have to admit this, because a lot of people would not want to admit that to anybody, or they're too immature to admit it. I invite you to just, test that theory out. How do you feel when you do something good for someone? Do you feel good? Does the sun seem to come out in the sky and shine on you? How do you feel? And then that's an example of why you should keep doing that, why you should keep helping people, So just remember cause and effect. And, for Christians that believe, uh, believe, like, in the Bible and things like that, it says it right there. You reap what you sow, My sister was telling me one time that she asked the preacher, at her church, is karma real? And he didn't believe it. He said, no. Well, then you need to look at your book. It's right there. You reap what you sow. And think of that energy that you're manifesting with. Manifest basically means to invest. So, think of that seed, that you're planting into the ground. That is a one step of the creation process. So you put the seed in there, you water it, you nurture it. If you talk about people and you gossip about them and you try to tear them down, or basically, make people look a certain way, influence people in a certain way, well then, what are you doing? You're nurturing a seed. You've planted that seed, so then, the deed that you've planted, it's gonna, basically blossom, see it as a metaphorical flower, it's blossoming, it's becoming a part of creation. And so eventually you're gonna have to deal with the consequences of that. So, and just, again, be mindful of what you're doing, You've seen, example, also, you've seen the law of attraction videos. An example of manifest would be like, if you've ever seen truck driving movies or movies with, trucks in it, a cop will pull the truck driver over and he'll say, well, can I see your manifest? Well, that's what manifest means. It means invest. It's an investment of your energy. If you take a look at the back of a truck, everything that's in that truck could be, a metaphor for your creations. So what do you, ask yourself, what are you trying to create? Are you trying to, is it more about like influencing other people and making them feel a certain type of way because you don't like someone and you want them to feel the same way? Or do you want to, secretly see that person fail? Or are you arrogant to the point where you actually think that this is the way this is going to happen, only for you to be disappointed? Jealousy will lead to downfall. And if you're jealous of an individual, any of that negative, energy of creation, it's really going to come back on you, and that's karma, and it's gonna destroy you, your very essence and who you are. So you might as well invest, in a smart way, and think about how would I want, someone to treat me, because when karma comes back, that's what it's going to do. It's going to teach you a lesson in empathy. If you put out negative, stuff out there, it's going to come back that way. And, it's going to come back in the form of usually destruction. And through that destruction, you're going to rise, hopefully, out of that ash or that fire that you created, and you're going to arise and be a better person. But just take I invite you again to just take a look at your life. What's happening? Are you paying for your karma or sins? Are you paying for the art of selfishness? Do you hate what you do? Are you the type of person to get everything you want and then not want it anymore? That's the other thing about investing in, creation, is knowing what you want and putting it out there and being sure of it. So just think on it, ponder on that, and, hopefully this video will help those people understand karma from another perspective. So this is Metaphysics, and that's my perspective. Thank you for watching.